You dirty stinking hyena. Welcome back to Fog Wrestling. I'm just woke up. I've got some business to attend to today, but we have to begin with a bit of news here about, well, what time is this getting uploaded? About 2 p.m. Actually, hell, it could be getting uploaded about 12 o'clock, folks, I'm being brutally honest. But the reality is, there is like zero wrestling news. I mean, I'm sure there's ratings somewhere, but do we really care about ratings in August, on the 11th of August 2025? I'm no convinced, but Bret Hart, you know, things I agree with. Recently, the nipple. You're not supposed to hurt your opponent, but the nipples just they can't resist. And then he's come out and said this on current wrestlers, and I quote: "They'd all be a lot better off if they copied me more." End of quote. You may think that's big-headed from the big man known as Bret the Shit Man Hart, but I think he's onto something, man. And it's not just a case of copying Bret Hart. Wrestling as a whole would be better if people copied the legends of the past. And I'm not talking about like Kevin Owens copying Stone Cold Steve Austin's stunner, right? Or people copying like an attitude adjustment or an F5 or a rock bottom or the Hogan's leg drop, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be a finisher, but what it needs to be is mannerisms, how they carried themselves, right? Facial expressions, psychology, work rate. It's things like that. It doesn't just need to be a one-off move. It can be a lot more open than a move, and the business would massively benefit. See Kevin Owens doing a stunner. That does nothing for me. That's Austin's finishing move. It's almost like you're going to the very top of Austin's arsenal to try and copy him something to get like cheap hate. Oh, because like that was Stone Cold Steve Austin's move. If I do that, they're going to love me. Anyway, that's what Bret had to say in regards to current wrestlers. A lot of guys give me the courtesy of calling me and asking me and saying, would it be okay if we do this on TV? We want to do this as a sign of respect. But I wanted to ask you first. I don't want to steal your moves without asking. After you retire, it's fair game. They can help themselves to all my moves. I don't need them anymore. I take it as a compliment. And whenever I watch wrestling and I see something that is obviously a salute, I take it as a huge compliment, especially from the wrestlers today. They'd all be a lot better off if they copied me more. End of quote. I mean, I agree with Bret. I mean, I think once you retire, your moves aren't really being stolen. I can understand though why wrestlers want to not use the same finishers, and I can also understand why, Kevin Owens would ring Stone Cold Steve Austin and be like, "Here, I'm just a fat jobber that looks like he works in McDonald's. Austin, is it okay if I use your finisher?" Well, yeah, Kim boy. What? That makes total sense to me, and I can understand why people would take it as compliments. But he says the wrestlers today they'd be a whole lot better off if they copied me more. Well, Bret's getting spoken about decades after he retired, even more decades after his prime, even more decades from when he debuted it. And you can't fault Bret Hart in terms of his impact on the wrestling business. I don't think I mean, he's nowhere near my favourite, let's get it out there. I do think he's overrated. But by God, did he have a good style of wrestling? I do think it was a tad boring in places, but am I going to sit here and pretend that it was awful? No. I mean, it's much better than anyone else's today. Yeah, it was a wee bit slow, but by God, Bret Hart had some of the greatest matches of all time. You can't fault that. The guy was, I think Brock Lesnar gets referred to as like a SummerSlam, like, is it a SummerSlam god or something? I mean, I think Bret Hart was like the original SummerSlam god because he would more often than not produce epic matches at SummerSlam. So we'll have to wait and see who's gonna copy Bret Hart some more now that he's given the green light on it all. But I mean, yeah, if all these wrestlers just actually, I mean, we've been saying it for ages. Like, why don't they just copy stories from the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, but put their own modern twist on it? They would be a whole lot better off. I mean, see, if I was in charge of WWE, I would be looking at the stuff that drew the most ratings in the Attitude Era, like segment wise and like story wise, and be like, right, this is your life. we'll do that. Oh wait, they did that, and it was with Alexa Bliss and Bayley, and it was fucking atrocious, right? But there's other things, you know, car crashes, hearses, man. Stephanie getting took out in that cross, right? You've got Arnold Schwarzenegger appearing on SmackDown. You've got Big Boss Man and Big Show at the funeral home. Big Boss Man cooking Al Snow's dog. All these epic, massive moments. You know, I mean, Austin pulling a gun on McMahon. Pillman pulling a gun on Austin. I know the ratings weren't exactly great in '96, but all these moments that stand the test of time, it's like, why not copy it? Oh, we don't need someone to pull a gun for us to appreciate wrestling. Oh, how dare you? Oh, how dare you? Anyway, that's where we're going to leave it, folks. Bret Hart. I agree with him. I agree with Bret Hart. Later on tonight, about 6 o'clock, Raw preview. And then about 10 p.m. UK time, the old Raw's return. I believe it's the 12th of May, 2020, no, 2003. Oh, hell yeah.